Episode 11 Tawakkul. There comes a moment when a person realizes that effort has a ceiling. You can plan properly, you can take every precaution, you can do everything you are supposed to do, and still the outcome stays out of your hands. There is not failure, but design. Because it is at the very edge of your limits that Allah introduces a believer to a trust that is not assumed but learned. Not denial, not passivity, not whatever happens, happens. Tawakkul is what remains when you have done what you can and you are forced to hand the rest to the one who never loses control. So the question that exposes us, when my hands can no longer hold the outcome, where does my heart go? وقال يا بني لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة وما أغني عنكم من الله من شيء إن الحكم إلا لله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المتوكلون. And Yaqub alayhi salam said, "My sons, do not enter through one gate, but enter through different gates. Yet I cannot avail you against Allah at all. Decision belongs to none but Allah. Upon Him I have placed my trust, and upon Him let those who trust rely." Surah Yusuf, verse 67. This is Yaqub alayhi salam, and he is not speaking from theory. He is a man whose heart has already been broken by life. He has already lost a son. He has already tasted grief that does not leave. He has already been tested with years of not knowing, years of waiting, years of carrying a wound in silence. Now his remaining sons are going back into a world he does not trust. And you feel the tension in the verse because it contains three movements that define tawakkul with startling precision. The first, action. لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة. Do not enter from one gate, enter from different gates. He takes the means, he thinks, he plans. He does not romanticize recklessness and call it faith. Tawakkul does not cancel strategy, it purifies it. Second, limits. وَمَا أُغْنِيَ عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. I cannot avail you against Allah at all. This is where the heart is forced to admit the truth it avoids. You can reduce risk, but you cannot eliminate decree. You can take precautions, but you cannot guarantee safety. And if you cling to control as your refuge, life will keep exposing your limits. The third, surrender. إن الحكم إلا لله عليه توكلت. Decision belongs to none but Allah. Upon Him I have placed my trust. This is not a slogan, it is a release. It is the moment you stop negotiating with reality and start anchoring in the one who authored it. Then Yaqub alayhi salam does something subtle but piercing. وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. And upon Him let those who trust rely. He does not say, try your best and hope it works. He calls it by its name, tawakkul, as if to say, this is not just my coping mechanism. This is a law of faith. Whoever claims trust, this is where they place it. If you want to understand tawakkul, you do not need a definition. You need this surah. Because the story of Yusuf alayhi salam is a long unfolding of events that look like loss in the moment and reveal themselves as mercy later. A boy is thrown into a well. A father is left with grief. A young man is tested in private. A prisoner is forgotten. Then the door that looked sealed opens in a way no one could have arranged. At every point, the visible scene screams one conclusion: this is going wrong. But tawakkul is refusing to make the visible scene the final verdict. Yaqub alayhi salam's trust is not proven by calm words. It is proven by years of carrying pain without abandoning Allah. And Yusuf alayhi salam's trust is not proven by ease. It is proven by restraint when temptation was near, by patience when injustice was loud, and by forgiveness when power finally returned to his hands. That is how this verse decodes tawakkul. Yaqub alayhi salam is taking means, but he has already learned that means do not own outcomes. So he gives the strategy to his sons and places his heart where it belongs. Most of us want tawakkul to mean one thing: relief. We want trust to produce the outcome we wanted, but the Quran is training something deeper. Sometimes tawakkul does not change the situation. It changes where your heart stands while the situation unfolds. a parent who cannot control what their child chooses, a person who did everything right, yet doors still closed, a believer watching a plane collapse and feeling that familiar panic rise. The verse does not question that anxiety, it gives it direction. Take the means, yes, but do not confuse means with salvation, because the moment you start worshipping control, every loss becomes a crisis of faith. And when you trust Allah, even a detour can become guidance. Tawakkul is not the absence of planning, it is the removal of illusion. The illusion that if you do everything correctly, life will obey you. Yaqub alayhi salam entered his sons through different gates and still he could not shield them from what Allah had written. And yet he was not broken by that reality, he was steadied by it. Because the heart that knows decision belongs to Allah stops demanding guarantees from life and starts asking a very different question. If Allah is the one deciding, then what is He teaching me through what He chose? So do not fear the moment your strength ends. Fear the moment you start believing your strength was ever enough. Because tawakkul begins exactly where control collapses, and the believer learns to walk again, not by seeing the whole path, but by trusting the one who authored it.